Good morning, everyone. From the very beginning of this program this morning, from the invocation through God is Real to these amazing women, I feel that we're in a special place this morning. One of my favorite songs, and probably yours too, is Lift Every Voice and Sing. And I get mad when people don't know the lyrics, because I think, how you gonna be black and don't know our story in song? But I try not to make faces. But there's a line in the song that says, we've come to a place for which our fathers sighed. To be in a room like this, being served a meal like this, in the presence of these magnificent women who are not anomalies, this is who we are. Since I've been at NCNW, I have a little saying that we are fortified by the past, but focused on the future. We can't pay back mom and them because they've done their work and they don't need us. Like mine, some of yours have gone on to glory. All we can do is what these women are doing, is paying it to the next generations. So please join me in applauding all of them. Aren't they amazing? And we got one more amazing one to present to you this morning. And thanks to Calvin and all the staff for assembling them. It's not easy when you're bringing people from Bessemer, Alabama, and somewhere in Mississippi. That takes a lot of logistical ingenuity, and so thank you for finding them and making sure we know about them. Now, I will pick one bone with you, Calvin. And that is the theme. It's something about coming to the table. Well, now, we dusted the table and set the table and cooked the food to put on the table and glued the leg back on the table when somebody knocked it off. I reckon we entitled to a seat at the table, you think? Let me stop clowning and do what I came up here to do. Our honoree this morning has been appointed as the Regional 4 Administrator for HUD. She is Denise Cleveland Leggett, and to many of us who have lived in Atlanta, she is no stranger because she has been a committed public servant and public figure. Prior to her appointment as Region 4 Administrator, she spent more than 30 years. She doesn't look like it, but the bio says she spent 30 years as a lawyer in public and private work and was actively involved in the business and community leadership of Atlanta. She represented various healthcare clients in transactional matters, mergers and acquisitions, which is sort of the white stocking part of the law. You know, that's where you get really paid really well and your clients don't cuss you out and all that kind of stuff. That's how you know you're a really high-toned lawyer when you do mergers and acquisitions. She also served on the Georgia Commission for Women, so she's got a highly developed sense of ethics and responsibility. The State Personnel Oversight Commission, the Council for the Hearing Impaired Legal Clinic, co-counsel. Now, you don't really have to do that. They don't pay you to do that. That's something you do because you have a love of people. She was chair of Literacy Action, which seeks to address adult illiteracy. And she was honored by the State Bar of Georgia with its Justice Robert Benham's Award for Community Service and has been recognized in Who's Who in Black Atlanta. She is a graduate of Boston University School of Law, married to Dr. Christopher Leggett, who is a physician, and they are the proud parents of 2 children. As the regional administrator for HUD, she will work from HUD's Atlanta regional office and lead HUD's Southeast operation in the states of, get this territory, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. So we're going to keep you in prayer because you got a job to do. But they picked the right, I sense they've picked the right person to do that job. This woman comes prepared by background, intelligence, training, experience, and compassion to do the job that she has been appointed to do. She will be able to assure that that pathway to the American dream, home ownership, remains alive and well. I get a little aggravated when people talk about home ownership like, well, everybody don't really have to own a home no more. And that's not for everybody. Well, you say that, you give me your house, if that's what you think. African American wealth has been concentrated in the homes that we own. So I don't want to hear about home ownership is out of style. You tell that to your grandchildren. Please join me in welcoming our standard bearer for public stewardship. Congratulations, Regional HUD Administrator Denise Cleveland Leggett.
I can wait on the award. I don't need an award to be honored to be here today. Before I get started, I just want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of this prayer breakfast. When I first walked in, since I've been at HUD, I'm giving speeches almost every week in different parts of my region. And but when I walked in here this morning and to the sound of gospel music and to Miss Craft, God is Real, that was the best introduction that I could have ever had in any speaking engagement that I've been to, because I believe in starting up my morning with God. I believe that He orders my steps, and because of that, I'm just thankful for the atmosphere that was created here this morning. I'm also thankful for being on the stage with wonderful women. It's an honor. These women are at the table. They have seats at the table. They have done incredible things. And I'm honored to be here in their presence. My husband was not able to be here today. He's a physician, an interventional cardiologist, and so he duty called. But he's my best friend. He's the love of my life. He's been my supporter for 33 years. We celebrated our 33rd wedding anniversary in June. And he's always been supportive, always been someone who doesn't mind sharing the spotlight with a woman. And some of you know what I'm talking about. It's rare air when you have a man who's secure in himself and secure in his beliefs to be able to support you and your dreams. And so I want to thank him in his absence. I want to thank my parents. My father passed in 2007. He was an incredible man, incredible. He and my mother were married for 56 years. My mother wasn't physically able to be here this year to the event. She's turning 90 in next May, and she wasn't physically able to be here, but she's always telling me, "You're my baby, I'm proud of my baby." She tells everybody. So I never really understood when I was young, she said, "I don't care how old you get, you're always gonna be my baby." And I didn't understand it until I had children of my own. And I find myself saying that to my 21-year-old football son, "You're my baby." And he doesn't get embarrassed. I run out on the football field and give him a hug after the games. And, you know, I said, "Am I embarrassing you?" He said, "Oh, no, Mom." But I'm proud to have had parents, loving parents, to have started me on this journey. I'm going to be short because we've heard so many great speeches today. I feel like we've had, 4 other keynote speeches today. And even though I come from a long line of ministers, when I say that, people get scared because it's like, start looking at the watch. So, but I promise I'm going to try and be short today. But thank you for this opportunity. Now, some of you don't need these yet, but I do. I broke mine yesterday, and I panicked, and I said, I've got to run and find some reading glasses. So I'm in need of these. Hold off as long as you can. Your seat at the table. Greatness comes from the desire to do extraordinary things, to reach beyond the status quo and relentlessly chase your dreams. It all starts with the setting and achieving goals. But when you aim higher than where your mark is, you force yourself to get better, one victory at a time. There is greatness inside of all of us, but first we must choose to be great. With a finite amount of time to live your ideal life, the time to embrace your inner excellence is always now. Again, I want to thank the women who have been trailblazers here, who I'm sharing the stage with. The road to excellence is a challenging road, and I don't have to tell you this, you've lived it. It's full of challenges, it's full of sacrifices, it's full of joys, but it's full of pain. There are some people in the audience who are at the seat. They have a seat at the table. I don't know all of your names, but I know several of you out there, and I know you've had a seat at the table. But there are women that you may know who are not here today, but who may be in your circle, who do not have a seat at the table. Their lives are like musical chairs, and I don't know if you remember that when you were young. You played the musical chairs, and you had your strategy when the music started playing, and I'm going to grab that chair right there, and the music would go, and somehow I'd end up without a chair. And there are many women out there without a chair, without a seat. These women have done all the right things. Some of them have gotten education, and there's no chair. Some women have been in the workplace and tried to meet the right people, and if I meet this person and that person, and get myself in the right position, I'll be able to get a chair. And the music starts, and there's no chair. There are some people who are in the workforce, and they've been asked to train other people that come into the workplace after them, get them up to speed, and they think, okay, well, if I do that, then I'll have my chair. And the music starts playing, and there's no chair. There are other women out there who have not had the opportunity of education, who have not had the privilege of being in certain workplaces, and they don't have a chair. I am a very spiritual person, and I believe that every aspect of our lives, everything is a building block for where we're supposed to be. Every experience, every good experience, every bad experience is a building block for where you're supposed to be. 30 years ago, my husband trained at Johns Hopkins Hospital and met Dr. Ben Carson. And Dr. Carson was a mentor, a loving man of integrity. We met, he and his wife, and we became friends 30 years ago. And after my husband's training was completed, we came here to Atlanta. did a number of different things, had a number of different jobs. While I was in Maryland, I was an attorney with the Maryland legislature. When I came here, I was with a private law firm and did a number of things in the legal realm. Not knowing that 30 years later, that relationship would lead me to this position that I hold now. When Dr. Carson became the Secretary of HUD, some people scratched their heads and wondered, well, you know, why would a renowned surgeon of the most complex area of surgery take on a position such as HUD? And because we know him, his integrity, his level of commitment, he could have done anything. He could have gone into the sunset and retired. He's, you know, financially set. He's got homes. There was no reason for him to do it, no benefit to him. The only thing that was driving him that we've known from the beginning was his relationship with God and his belief that he can do something to make the lives of people better. So when he asked me to the table to serve as the regional administrator for Region 4, I was happy to do it because I knew that with him as our leader, I know that he wants to do something more for people. You know, what you hear is not always what the reality is. And because I speak the truth to people, I believe that God has put him there for a reason. And I believe the building blocks have put me there for a reason. Because I was appointed as a regional administrator, there have only been two, well, and myself included, I'm the second woman that's ever been appointed to Region 4. And there have been, you come into our office and there's a big, long line of pictures of men and other people that don't look like me that are on that wall. And then there's one other woman from 1993, and then myself. So some people would say, well, you've made it to the table, or you have a seat at the table. I was in Washington last week and meeting with department heads at HUD in various departments. And with that, some people would say, you have a seat at the table. But my belief is that God did not put me here to have a seat at the table. He put me here to help the people that I serve understand that, number one, there is a table, because many people don't know there's a table, let alone a seat at the table. And I know that that is my mission. Every day I walk into my HUD building, there are people around, walking around our building, homeless. And what's worse, it's not so much that they don't have a home, but when you look into their eyes, they don't have hope. They don't have a hope of not only a home, they don't have hope for themselves, they don't have hope for their lives, they don't have hope for their families. And when you lose hope, it is a tragedy. It is an absolute tragedy. Many of us, you go through difficulties in life, but you always believe. You know, you always think that God is going to deliver you. He's going to bring you to where you're supposed to be. But when you see people who don't have that belief, it is a tragedy. Now, one of the things that brings me hope is there are several sites in Atlanta that have been developed in recent years that give me hope and bring hope to the people that I serve. I'm not sure if you've had the opportunity to go to the Purposeville location. It's the old East Lake property where there was a horrible public housing section there, full of drugs, full of poverty, full of just adverse situations. And a few years ago, I don't know if any of you know Renee Glover, but Renee was a maverick in the housing industry and in public housing. And she came in and said, we're going to tear it all down. Now, it took a lot to do that because, number one, people are scared. You coming into our neighborhood and tearing our stuff, and then you're going to displace us and put up some apartments there and for the rich folk, and we're not going to have any place to go. And they were scared. But she had to get buy-in from some of their community leaders to say, look, you know, I promise you that things are going to be better. And if you go there now, not only is the old housing complex torn down that has mixed income housing there with a designated amount for public housing, for people, for low-income housing. They couldn't build the property without having a designation for that. And then what's even better is they have 2 charter schools. They have a middle school, an elementary school, and a high school. And I was able to go in and see the face of hope again. Those children, when they first came there, they were the lowest performing students in the state. And now they are competing against students in private schools. They are competing at the top level. And that's because they have hope now. That's what hope looks like. One of the little kids came up to me, a young man, he says, you know, I want to be a photographer. Can I take you all's picture? And we said, sure. We saw another classroom full of children who were playing the cello. That's what hope looks like. That's that I am commissioned to do, not to be here just to, and I'm honored to collect, you know, awards, but I am not in a position to just to collect awards. I am here to do a job. I am here to serve people. I'm here to make lives better. Even people that I may never meet, never see, it is my duty and obligation that God has given me to make the lives better for people. So I ask you today, as you're contemplating here the wonderful things for your own lives, the positive things for your own lives, don't forget those who don't know there is a table. Don't forget those people who don't know that there's a seat, that they can pull up to a table. Remember the people who need our help. One of the first things when I took this position before the hurricanes, I was led to go down to Puerto Rico, which is and it was one of the first places that I went to, and it was kind of strange because when I got down there, they were so happy to see me because they said, well, the regional administrators don't put us #1 on the list. And so we had just a good, you know, interaction, not knowing, I believe that God led me down there before so I could establish relationships with the people down there. And when the first hurricane came, Irma, they breathed a sigh of relief. I think we weathered the storm. And then Maria. And it was absolutely devastating. And every day, the day before the storm, I called our field office director there and said, Efrain, are you okay? Just checking on you. You know, and he was surprised that I was calling him, but I said, of course I'm calling you. I need to know how you're doing. And every day since the hurricanes, I have called down there to him to see how he's doing. And I'm sure I will be back down there sometime soon. But not only Puerto Rico, but the Virgin Islands. If you've seen any video of the Virgin Islands, it is unbelievable. We've had several residents who were killed in our complexes, our public housing complex. A woman was swept out of her home because the walls blew out. So those people need your prayers. They need your sincere prayers because they are hurting. And they are good people. They are good people. I talk with them every day. They are good people. Ephraim didn't have water and he didn't have power, but he was still trying to do his job. That's the kind of dedication that we deal with down there. So as I close, I want you to remember those people and other people who don't have a seat at the table and don't know there is a table. And I'd like to leave you with two things. One is a statement by Wilma Rudolph, and the second is a poem. Never underestimate the power of dreams and the influence of the human spirit. We are all the same in this notion. The potential for greatness lives within each of us. And a poem I'd like to read is actually a poem written by my brother, who's also a lawyer. But it's called What If? What if this very day I see the possibility in every moment? What if I give no place to negative thoughts? I only see the good in people while allowing for the bad. What if for today I am all that I hope to be? What if I am a dream in the making, a gifted child of the universe, endowed with the limitless gifts of the supreme intelligence? What if I am loved as I am, but a perfect work in progress? What if I am true to myself and my values, true to those who love me, true to the creed of goodness to my fellow man and other inhabitants of this planet? What if I can do the impossible, attempt the improbable, and dare the unthinkable? What if I see the world through a new set of eyes, the eyes of hope, the eyes of happiness, the eyes of compassion, the eyes of truth, the eyes of integrity, the eyes of love? What if? I thank you again, and let's make room at the table.
Okay, you guys, go to the Rainbow Bush Coalition and support them. Support the things that's in your community. You got to do it because you have a purpose and it needs to get out. Your greatness needs to get out. You know we love you here on Good Deeds. You know how to contact us. But you know I love you, love you, love you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.